What's up, guys? As usual, I try my best to get out a review for whatever movie that's out right now that I happen to be interested in. And that certainly is the case for this review because I just recently saw the newest installment in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles franchise known as Mutant Mayhem. When it comes to a property that has been around as long as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, of course it has garnered hundreds and hundreds of fans who end up adoring these iconic characters, regardless of whichever version they grew up with. As for someone like myself, I could say that I am a fan of Ninja Turtles, but I am a very casual fan of the series, as this isn't one of the biggest properties I'm attached to. This is not out of fault with the series, but more so due to the fact that I didn't really grow up with the Ninja Turtles as much as maybe other kids who grew up in the late 80s, 90s, or even 2000s. I didn't really watch too much of any of the major shows that were around during my time. Hell, if I'm being honest with you, most of my nostalgia for the Ninja Turtles more so comes from all of the Angry Video Game Nerd and Nostalgia Critic videos where they talk about their love for the series in various comedic ways.
Yeah, and I was just banging on some sewer pipes.
Oh! In spite of that situation, that doesn't mean that I didn't grow an appreciation for these characters and the property later on, because I have definitely grown to like this series from the little I have seen of it. I've seen some of the movies, played a few of the games, and do enjoy the personalities of all these characters when I see them in something that does them justice. So, when this new animated Ninja Turtles movie was announced as their next big movie, I certainly became intrigued. A very stylistic looking animated film featuring these four characters seemed like a really cool new direction for the series with Mutant Mayhem. So, is this new direction for the Ninja Turtles able to bring justice to our four favorite mutant reptiles? Well, after watching it, I can definitely say yes. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem is a blast of a Ninja Turtles movie that embraces its more stylistic approach in this new era of really cool looking animated movies. As that's where I'm going to start right off the bat, as the animation in this movie is pretty rad to say the least. I'm sure you heard by now all of the various comparisons to Into the Spider-Verse this movie has gotten. And you can definitely sense that there was a lot of inspiration from that movie here. However, this does have a bit of an identity to it that stands out in conjunction to that film. This movie's look has often been compared to concept art coming to life. And I agree, as this film does have a much sketchier and rough look compared to Spider-Verse. To compare it to an animated movie that isn't Spider-Verse, this movie also made me think a lot about the movie Rango. Not because that film was also a production for Paramount Studios, but more so because I can't remember the last time I saw an animated movie where the designs of most things were intentionally grotesque. And I mean that in the best way possible. A lot of the character design in this are very weird and off-putting, with a lot of angular looking people with strange faces, all in a world that's very dark but also is literally oozing with color with some good use of greens. It's an imperfect look that I really admire, and come to think of it, this is the kind of stuff that Nickelodeon had branded its identity off of between all of their most iconic shows. So, I say this movie fits in quite nicely with the Nicktoons lineup. Visually impressive for sure, with it also having a lot of good sound to it, including a great score by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross to boot. So, what does that mean for the story and characters in this? Well, it's your basic run-of-the-mill Ninja Turtles origin story, with some neat modifications to make it stand out. The biggest are the Turtles themselves, as this time, they really emphasize the teenage aspect of TMNT. The Turtles are a lot younger than we're used to in this, but it's a good change of pace, as I do like how these characters act more like a family of young brothers bonding, with Splinter being emphasized more as a father figure this time around too. One character in particular that I noticed was emphasized a bit more than I initially expected was Leonardo actually. I could be wrong since I'm not a die-hard fan, but from most Ninja Turtles stuff I've seen, it tends to be more fixated on Raphael or Michelangelo. But I say it is fitting because, well, as the theme song says, this movie really focuses on Leonardo's leadership skills, as he's the one they look up to, and he is also more protective of the rest of the team. And I do like this arc in terms of how he was able to balance out being the rightful hero for the rest of his mates to look up to. The rest of the Turtles are also solid, with their characterization still being how you would expect for the most part. And I also like that the Turtles aren't voiced by big names and instead voiced by actual teenagers, which adds to the authenticity of them being younger in this. The other characters are pretty cool too here, as April and Splinter are good supporting characters that, while maybe this version is vastly different from some of their other counterparts, they both do have an arc that works for them in this particular iteration. Plus, you also get a strong villain cast here, with the Turtles facing off against a lot of different mutants who all have these really cool, unique designs. Even if they are different versions of previously established turtle foes, they still give them a distinctive look to stand out compared to previous adaptations. Also gotta give props to the voice acting, which is really good in this. Most of them outside of the Turtles might be celebrity voicing these characters, but they're ones that feel more appropriately cast, and each actor does a pretty solid job. This also includes Ice Cube, who plays the main villain, Superfly, who's pretty funny in this. Although, one minor downside, really could have utilized Gus Fring as Baxter Stockman a lot better than they did here. As for any faults this movie might have, well, the film does have a lot of humor in it, which might be a bit of a fault because there are plenty of times where the movie does try to crack jokes and it might not be the most appropriate time to do so. It doesn't damage the film too much, though it also might feel a little excessive because a lot of the humor is based around a lot of pop culture references. I don't mind it too much here because, one, these are teenagers we're talking about, and two, pop culture references in general have always kind of been the Ninja Turtles thing. It might just feel more excessive now with so many movies nowadays just being inundated with pop culture references. Another minor issue is that the film does try to do a lot with its story, with the amount of characters that interact with the Turtles, and all the subplots involved with them. However, it might be too much for its own good, as the film does have a very quick pace with a 90-minute runtime. A lot of characters and plot elements do feel a bit overlooked or a bit rushed, especially towards the latter half of the film. However, the film makes up for it by being as stylistically action-packed as it can be, to where you kind of forget about those shortcomings while watching it. This film has a lot of good energy and doesn't drag at any point thanks to a lot of solid action sequences here and a neat edge that you don't see in other PG animated films. I mean, what's a good Ninja Turtles movie without a few swear words here and there? All of this intact in a very enjoyable film that doesn't waste too much time and gets to the point. If the 3-hour runtime of something like Oppenheimer intimidates you, then this 90-minute breeze will be a much better fit. Overall, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem is a really fun time. If you adore these characters and love seeing a new revamped version of them, then this will definitely deliver on that. Even if you're a casual fan like myself, it's a film that has so much style and character to it that it's hard not to appreciate all the fun work this creative team had on this. A creative team filled with so many great writers and actors that deserve recognition for their hard work and also strong efforts on striking as well, because they're the ones who make movies like this possible, not the studio execs. WGA strong, by the way. I highly recommend checking this out, as a stylistic adventure like this is a good route for these heroes in a half shell to go through. So take that for what it's worth. And I'm going to give Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the newest TMNT movie. What did you guys happen to think about it? Or what's your guys' favorite Ninja Turtles adaptation in general? Comment below, let me know. Hit that red subscribe button, bell icon for more updates and notifications. And I'll see you guys again next time. Later.
I made a funny.